So for section 8.1, you can see for 8.1 and 2, both of them are going to be together. And we're also going to do something with these, with the ledgers.
Oh my gosh, how many papers is it? Like 10,000 pages.
So with 8.1, this sheet here, this is an example. This is a worksheet. So we're going to use this to get our information from, to put on the back side of the journal. So the first part we're going to do in section 1 is we're just going to journalize our adjustments. So if you look at the opposite page from the section review, basically just shows you, what we're going to do here. So we're going to start on our blank side, and just right at the top, as it shows in the example, we're going to write adjusting entries. I did a poor job of doing that. We got adjusting entries. So they're just going to go back to the front side. And here's our adjustments. So we're just going to journalize our adjustments, and we're going to do them in this format. We're going to start with the expenses listed on the top line for each item. So here it shows supplies. So we'll look at our supplies expense. So we've got supplies expense on our worksheet. $713 credit, or in the debit column. So supplies expense. That was $713. So then, just like it shows in the book, we're just going to have the supplies, the adjustment for the supplies listed right underneath that. So we'll just write supplies. Thank you. So we got supplies, and the expense went in the debit side. So your adjustment goes on the credit side. So remember, looking back at the front, the adjustment went on the credit side.
So why we put it on the debit side on the other side?
Well, supplies credit is going to go supplies credit.
Okay.
But above that, we're going to list the expenses first. So it's the expense. So you're looking at two different things here. So you got the supplies expense. That's in debit. So we got supplies, and then the other example in the book shows insurance expense. So let's go ahead and list insurance expense. And that is insurance expense. That was $300. So yeah, $300 in debit. And below that, we'll just write prepaid insurance. $300 credit. So which is right here.
Is that it?
So the other thing, obviously I skipped the very first step, was writing the date. We still have to write dates for our entries. So that was July 31st. So we only have to write July in here once, though, since everything else took place on the 31st on the same month. So. Got that one, and then looking for our page number. Let's see if it says in the book here. Oh, here it is. Use page 4, so we'll have page 4 for our journal. Okay, so now that's that part. I realize most of you probably don't have this other, the ledgers probably don't have them torn out of your book. But I'm going to go to the ledger, and I'm going to find our supplies expense account. So it's the very last one, supplies expense. So on our ledger, July 31st, our expense was a $713 debit. So we'll put $713 here in the debit. And now our new balance for that account is a $713 debit. And then our posting reference, that's page 4 from the journal. So I'll write page 4 right here, posting reference. Then the last thing we need to do, we've got our account number 540. So in our posting reference on our journal, we put 540. So we can look it up by account number. So since we're on the expenses part, I'll just go ahead and skip down here to insurance expense. $300 for debit, so I believe that's on the, that is somewhere on here, insurance expense. Oh, right at the top of the page. Sure, insurance expense, July 31st, $300 debit. So
Do you need both of these papers when you turn it in?
So our new balance is $300 for debit,
You know what page that one is?
161. And then our posting reference, remember it's, page 4 of the journal. Then our account number for our insurance expense is 520. So 520 there. So now we'll get supplies. So here's our supplies.
it's about 151, right?
Let me make sure I got this right here. Yeah. So our supplies, we have a $713 credit. First, $713 credit. So now we're going to apply, because we've already had it. We had a debit from the previous month, so we've got a credit to apply towards the debit. So which is going to take that. So we're going to subtract credit from the debit.
250.
Right, 250. And we still have our posting reference. We've got to do that. So page 4. And we've got to write our account number on the journal. So account number 140. So go to supplies, account number 140. So we go down to the next one, our prepaid insurance. $300 credit for prepaid insurance. Here's our ledger for prepaid insurance, so the 31st. $300 credit. So apply the 300 credit towards the debit, so that's going to bring the debit down to 900.
That is the rest of
Page 4 of the journal, our account number 150. So 150 on our posting reference. So you should have that for the supplies and prepaid insurance, and similar for the expenses.